Merry Christmas, and welcome to Nerdy for 30, the podcast where we talk about nerdy-ish things for 30-ish minutes. This is a very special holiday edition of the show. We are here at the culmination of season's beatings. We've been talking about holiday action movies the entire month, and we are going to wrap it up with the greatest holiday action movie of all time, Die Hard. We talked about it last year. It's so good. We're right back here again talking about it again, which means we had to bring back our guest. You know him from Pod Cusack. You know him from fronting the band Sea Urchin. You love him for all of it. It's Matt Strickland. Matt, thank you so much for being here.
Yippee-ki-yay! Nerdy for 30. It's so happy. I'm so happy to be here. In your intro, you said it's the best Christmas action movie of all time. I'll say it's the best action movie. No, it's the best movie of all time.
Whoa. Oh my God.
It's my favorite, and good that you got the video running because you can see I am wearing my now I have a machine gun ho 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 sweatshirt to get in it's the first time I broke it out this holiday season, so I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
Are those blood stains, or is that just your wet hair just stained? It'd be funny if it came with the blood stains.
That happened until I was posing for the camera, and I was like, "Oh my God, maybe this was a mistake."
The first thing I thought of when I saw that scene was like, I have to get that sweatshirt. I was like, somebody has to make this, and now Matt's rocking it. I love it. Matt, is there enough meat on this Die Hard bone for us to spend yet another year talking about the greatest action movie of all time?
I'm not sure that we'll really start running out of things to talk about until we get to like year 10, 12. Once the 30 for 30 Die Hard tradition hits puberty, that's when maybe it'll slow down. But I say we have to go at least 25 years.
We got to go at least 25. As you know, the entire point of this podcast is to earn enough money to get the rights to play the movie on YouTube so that we can do our own director's commentary over top.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to do a Mystery Science Theater over Die Hard, which would be fantastic.
So listeners out there, start Venmoing me money at Matthew-Lee-Strickland.
We're going to edit that out.
I promise you I will take
that's
that.
That's a bold move.
Yeah, we're going to take that right out of there.
We're gonna have to bleep that.
The money for buying the rights to Die Hard.
You can also send him as many requests as you want.
Yeah,
guys, where do we begin with this?
I'll say. Oh, you go. You sound like you had a great head of steam, and I just cut you off. Go for it.
It's all good. I was going to say, where do we even begin with this? I think we got to begin at the beginning, the plane scene. What a weird way to start the movie, right?
I love it because the movie's so great. It sets things up and pays them off. The plane scene, it establishes that he's a cop. It establishes that he hates to fly, which then leads to the taking off the chute. All that stuff, which then leads to he's barefoot the whole time. It establishes that every chick wants to fuck John McClane. It establishes that he's just like a blue collar guy, which is so. Here's sort of what I was thinking this time around. Is this the greatest? Okay. I've never, didn't study history. It's in college, besides the basic requirements. I didn't study economics in college besides the basic requirements. But is this the best anti-capitalist Marxist action movie? Sure, I know John McTiernan's a Republican, the director, and I know the star, Bruce Willis, is a Republican. But could it be that they secretly made a beautifully Marxist action movie that's just about the proletariat, this blue-collar cop taking down these fucking suited capitalists?
Do you think it's really an attack on capitalism if it's like it's in the building, it's like where they're doing it? I guess the guy who runs the company dies. Like, how far can we push this analogy?
The guy who runs the company, Takagi, he dies. He's an asshole, but he's killed by Alan Rickman, who the whole thing is set up where he's like, they think he's a terrorist, right? That he's working to further some ideology. And like, which leads to that great joke. Asian Dawn read about them in Time magazine, you know, but his only ideology is money. He's a pure capitalist. He's not a terrorist. He has no integrity or ideology he's trying to further. He's purely a capitalist, and he's taken down by a blue collar guy from New Jersey. I mean, that's like probably one of the reasons I love the movie so much, because it's like it's a fantasy, like a blue collar Jersey fantasy.
Yeah, not since Animal Farm has such biting satire been put on display.
I did hear George Orwell did the first draft of this one. It's interesting because watching this time around, it definitely seems like Bruce Willis has like I was getting a lot more of the like American ideals versus European ideals situation. And it totally feels like Bruce Willis has a kill them all and let God sort them out approach to life. Like he's just going to fucking do whatever and everybody else is going to figure out a way to deal with it. So thinking about it now, I can definitely see the symbolism you're talking about where it's like, yeah, this is a blue collar guy. This is a fantasy about a blue collar guy who's able to like fight his way out of a situation that he's hopelessly outclassed in. But it's almost like
he's threatened, right? His marriage is threatened by this job his wife has. And, the coworker who's clearly trying to fuck Holly, and her boss is Mr. Takagi, who can give Holly the life that John McClane can't give her. And at the end of the movie, Takagi, bullet through the brain. Ellis, bullet through the brain. Nakatomi Plaza, blown to bits. The company's dead. There's no way.
And his wife doesn't have a job anymore. She can't go back there.
It's completely ruined her career.
I'm pretty sure he was on her health insurance.
All the symbols of this, white collar capitalist lifestyle have been blown up and shot.
But I think it's a question of intent for me. Like, do you think that in this analogy,
of course it's not, they don't have that intent.
Well, I don't even mean the filmmakers. I mean, insofar as like furthering this symbolism, do you think that we can map any kind of an intent on Bruce Willis as like a blue collar hero going after this? Because I think that's a big difference when we're talking about like the Marxist philosophy is that it's aimed at capitalism. Like, whereas I feel like, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's a response thing because he is being directly attacked by these capitalists.
Sure. But you have to think that he goes to California with some intent to dismantle it.
Okay.
California life. Right? Whether it's conscious or subconscious, he's going out there hoping that she'll be like, "It sucks out here. I hate making all this money. Sure, I'll come back and live in an outer borough with you." Right?
Dude, this leaves exactly into my takeaway from this rewatch I did. John McClane is the villain of this movie, and Alan Rickman is the hero. John McClane is he's a sociopath. He's a piece of shit. He is horrible to his wife. He is a cop. He's a cop. He's scum, he just sucks. He's a bad person, right? His best friend is another cop who has, abused his power and murdered an innocent child, right? So they're connecting over that, their love of violence. And then when he gets off the plane, he sees the couple running to hug each other, and he's like, only in California. And it's like, oh, okay. So he thinks showing any sort of love or compassion towards your partner is something that only could happen in California. That's not how he's ever treated his wife before. He thinks the idea of her jumping into his arms is laughable and less than him, right? So he's like, he's a shitty. He also hates that his wife has a job, so he's sexist, and he doesn't think she's going to succeed. He doesn't believe in her.
He just doesn't want her to have this job. She could be a diner waitress.
Sure, she could be a lower status job underneath him. She could be a candy striper that he comes to get patched up. Yeah. As long as dinner's on the table when John McClane comes home, he doesn't care what she does. But
I'm
But so
with this
then-
John McClane's a villain angle. The
Then the
line
limo.
when he's talking to
The
Argyle
limo-
in the limo. Yeah.
See,
Bad
but here
shit.
that goes a little bit into my reading. Sure, I will caveat that just even by the fact that John McClane is a cop is sort of like the Marxist reading sort of deflates because, you know, as we know, cops are fascist tools of the state, blah, blah, blah. But he's riding in the limo, right? He doesn't sit in the back like some kind of big shot Hollywood bigwig. He sits in the front. He's
Like-
equal to Argyle.
Like
He's
a sociopath. Like a sociopath who's never even heard of a limo before. This man has no concept of what a limo is. He's
blue
confounded by
collar,
it.
He's
Oh, he's
never
too
ridden
blue
a limo
collar?
Before. He's blue
It's toxic
collar.
masculinity at its finest. He thinks it's like to California to like get in the back seat and be chauffeured around. No, I have to creep out this driver who like the driver's like protect, like there's some separation between the client
I think
and
you're
the
being
driver.
elitist, Tim. I think you're being
How am I being elitist?
You're a coastal elite. And you don't understand that this is a simple man. You know, he doesn't know the ins and outs of high class parties and limos and skyscrapers. He's from New York. He doesn't know about skyscrapers.
He's never even heard of a limo. He's never seen one in a movie. He's never heard of getting in the back with it. I don't know. I just feel like it's a real power move. You know, like when you call the Uber and then you sit in the passenger seat next to the driver. It's just like a real. It's like it feels like I always feel like I'm intruding on their space when that happens. You know, they let it happen.
Have you ever done that when it's just you?
No, but how crazy would that be? That's what John McClane did. That's what John McClane did. He called an Uber and then he sat in the passenger seat with no one in the back. This guy's crazy. Crazy.
You know what's
It's
great about that too? Argyle
I'll say.
did have to do that same thing that always happens when that happens in an Uber, where the driver has to move some stuff out of the front seat so you can sit there. They always have stuff on the seat, and then you show up with like 5 people. Everybody knows you should have ordered an XL. Nobody wants to pay for an XL. They're like, yeah, I guess I'll move this Burger King bag out of here. I got a question for you, Tim. John McClane sitting in the front seat of this limo.
Yeah.
Imposing on Argyle. When he's sitting in that seat, do you think he's manspreading?
Oh, he's definitely manspreading. Don't get me off on this manspreading thing, because I think manspreading has been under attack for too damn long. Men spread those legs.
Okay, this is not the direction I wanted to take that. This is not at all.
All of a sudden Kevin is like, oh, is he manspreading in this one person's seat? This is his personal space. Oh, well, now he's claimed it. I mean, this is like some white savior bullshit, or like what was the thing where it was like where Americans just like ventured into the, you know, like they just conquered other lands because of what?
Manifest Destiny.
Yeah, Manifest Destiny. This is him encroaching on a man's space, taking territory that does not belong to him, just so he can masquerade as a tough guy. All right.
All right.
And
Now
then-
I have a question, Tim. Part of your whole thesis is that he's the villain. So if he's the villain, how is Gruber the hero?
I just think Alan Rickman is. I just love Alan Rickman so much in
Because
this.
he's charming.
Yeah, he's charming. He's a nice guy. He's always been cool to me. That's the thing I don't understand. Is like I heard all these bad things about him, but he's always been a nice guy to me. I just have so much fun this time watching the bad guys set things up. That's like so much of the movie is the bad guys going into a thing and like hacking into a grid. And now they got to come over here. Now they got to hack into the vault. And then one guy's going to cut the power and the other guy, and they're like bickering with each other. Like they're all like their characters. It's so fun watching them do this stuff.
I love, this is part of what makes it like a cut above many other action movies, is that they have all relationships with each other. Even in, it'll be just like established in one scene, like, the hack cool, like the sarcastic hacker guy, but just that moment where the brother, the guy who ends up in this sweatshirt, is trying to like do that weird wire cutting thing. And then Alexander Goofnoff comes in with the like the power saw and cuts all the stuff, and he's like freaking out because he's got to like do the wire thing before the saw. And it's like they're just like fucking with each other, and it is sort of establishes this like rapport that they have, and you can like in that one tiny moment you sort of imagine a whole relationship that all these guys have, and it's like that kind of stuff is so like not needed to make the movie make sense or go, but it's like that extra stuff that makes it such a great movie.
Oh, for sure. Oh, it was so much fun to watch. That is an observation that I had this time around too, is the fact that they really truly had a plan. Like there were stages to what they did. There were fail safes, there were contingencies. When they are ready for the cops to storm the plaza, that's when they break out the rocket launchers. They didn't just have them, you know, like it was wonderful.
And Alan Rickman, I think he's an incredible leader. He has a great relationship with his crew. He's also, you're talking about like capitalism, and I guess maybe this is the best like capitalist argument, but he is like robbing a very rich corporation. Like he is stealing from the rich and the upper class, and it's money that isn't going to like negatively impact anybody. So why can't he just, I mean, he should be robbing this company probably, right?
Well,
If this giant skyscraper in LA.
Right? Because
he's a capitalist.
He's a capitalist because he's not Robin Hood, you know. He is just another. That's why what's his name? That's why Ellis is like, you know, you use a gun, I use a fountain pen. What's the difference? Like they're equals here. He's going up in the elevator with Takagi. He's like, John Phillips, your suit. I have two myself. He's of that world, you know. So this is just Ellis put it perfectly. It's just a hostage takeover situation, and he is just another one of these capitalists that they do all the stuff up here, and the proletariat down here is like trying to, you know, run around and kill terrorists with no shoes on.
Yeah, I disagree. I bet there's like a village back home that he has like that is like running out of food, and he has to like get the money to like bring back to his family. Like there's like some ulterior motive for this that could be very, gregarious and loving. Also, he kills Ellis, which is a face move. That's a hero move to kill Ellis. Ellis is clearly a villain. He's clearly a piece of shit. Him dying is like a real notch in the belt as far as him being a good guy, I think.
Yeah. He is like one of the best characters in the movie, though. Ellis is
he's amazing. He's so good.
Obi, that whole scene is so perfectly written, and that actor is so great.
Yeah,
that actor directed the movie PCU.
I don't know what that is.
Same here.
Just a fun fact. PCU is a college comedy starring Jeremy Piven from the 90s.
Piven College University?
Yeah, Hart Bachner's the actor's name. This doesn't matter. You can cut this out.
We're keeping it in.
Just a fun fact for the PCU heads out there.
Yeah. This is for the Bachner tribe. They love those PCU shout outs. The Ellis thing. Oh boy, we're definitely gonna have to cut this out. I just completely derailed.
No.
I had no idea what I was aiming toward.
Hans Gruber, it stood out to me. A moment in this stood out to me, which I think again paints him in a heroic light, right? The scene where him and John McClane have their first like face to face, right? Hans Gruber is the leader of this operation. He's the boss, right? But he's not just a boss. He's a leader. You ever see that like picture, like that cartoon where it's like a boss is like on like all these people are trying to push a boulder or like a big stone, and the boss is on the top of the stone. He's standing on the stone yelling at everybody, and the leader is out in front with a rope pulling the stone with the rest of his team, showing them where to go. Hans Gruber does not need to go to the roof by himself and check on the explosives, but he knows that he's short-staffed. He doesn't want to risk one of his own guys, so he does this job himself. He puts himself in the line of fire to make this check, and ultimately, you know, he gets caught up by John McClane. But I thought it was a very selfless act for Hans Gruber to go up there and check the roof himself. Thought it showed great leadership, great morale. I mean, he's a protagonist for sure in this, I think.
He does also rig the entire roof to explode and kill all of those people, including that woman's unborn child. So he's not,
He's pro-choice.
His choice.
His choice.
Yeah.
His choice. Oh my god. Oh geez, this will be our last episode.
Well, geez, I don't know. I guess
Go out with a bang.
You bring me around your way of thinking, Tim.
I really did not expect this argument to have legs whatsoever. I do like the idea that like secretly Hans Gruber is doing this for altruistic means, and like maybe there's like a read. Like my headcanon for this is now going to be that the reason that he's able to do that flawless California accent is because back home in the village that Gruber's from, he's like the best actor in the village, and like he never wanted to be the one to do this heist anyway, but they needed someone that would be convincing as a ruthless businessman to pull off this heist, and Gruber had to do it. He's an actor.
Like Neil Simon plays in Eastern Romania somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he's not like jacked. He's not like an enforcer, but he's earned their respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that says more about him than, any musculature or body type possibly could.
So I do want to, as a tangent to this, I do want to call out like that part of Rickman as an antagonist. This is one that's really been standing out to me lately. Like we talked about Lethal Weapon 2 a couple weeks ago on the pod, and there have been so many of these action movies where you have the foil for the hero just being another big buff guy that they have to go up against. But when you look at Rickman, he's a precision instrument. He's doing these like hand flourishes that you wouldn't typically see from someone that's supposed to be an action movie villain. Like he really truly is a different type of guy in that way than you're used to seeing with like, your Bruce Willis's, the tank top, the rippling muscles, the sweat slick, the blood stains all over the place. I can picture, I can picture John McClane opening a beer with his mouth. That literally happens in Lethal Weapon 2. Mel Gibson rips and it's a bottle. It's not even a can. But like Alan Rickman, there's something about him that just reads as so much more intelligent, and it's a completely different type of threat. And I think it's a lot more interesting of a threat to have the protagonist go up against, because all the henchmen can be other macho guys. But like, I think it really says something to have a big bad that is truly going to require a different approach.
It feels like he's Lex Luthor to Superman. To Bruce Willis's Superman in this.
Yeah.
Right? It's like Superman, and he's taking like a blue collar approach, and then he's trying to out, and then it becomes like an intellectual battle, but they're kind of fighting on different levels, I think. But what were we gonna say, Matt?
I was just gonna say it speaks to the casting ingenuity of the movie to not only have, sort of a British stage actor Alan Rickman come in to play the villain rather than like a buff guy, but also the buff guy in the movie is Alexander Godunov, who is like a ballerina, one of like, I think after Baryshnikov of like the 80s, he was like the greatest Russian ballerina of the time. So it's like even the buff beefcake guy is a little bit more like the way he's very graceful, like when he's walking across the roof, to like with the gun like this, because he's a ballerina. So it's like they're taking different types of people. They're bringing different types of people to the movie than you would have seen in like Commando or Cobra or whatever, any of those types of movies.
Oh, I love that. I think it's so much more interesting.
Yeah. If they do a Die Hard 6, the three of us are sitting right here. And we're unlike people that have been cast in movies before because we're, like untalented actors.
Sure.
Yeah. We could be great villains.
Yeah. Confusing villains for sure.
Like, what are these guys even doing here? But I had a great time, probably.
The villains of the new Die Hard are 3 Brooklyn podcasts.
Honestly,
that is villain written
most
all
of the
over
country,
it, honestly.
totally on board. Yeah.
Yeah. One of us would be really into like crypto. And that would be some crypto scam probably that we were trying to run.
Yeah, we lost all our money in crypto and now we're robbing a bank to recoup our losses.
Yeah.
It's the bank John McClane just started working at.
We get a great gag where like I'm like the hacker. I get us into the bank vault and then it opens up and Strickland's like, where are all the NFTs? And I'm like, what? And he's like, we opened up the vault. Where are all the NFTs?
I'm expecting to go and do a Die Hard opening up all the things and have the NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we just start turning on each other, and then that's the we kill each other before McClane even gets to us.
God.
I think this is an idea. I don't know. I mean, it's not perfect. We have to iron out some of the kinks, but there's definitely some meat on that bone.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get that working.
Yeah. We'd start writing tonight. We'll call in sick tomorrow and just dedicate all my time to this.
I'm available.
This six. Yeah,
what
but it sounds like Bruce Willis is
this.
retired now too.
Speaking of tomorrow, what do you think happens immediately the next day for John McClane? So, I mean, it's pretty late when this is over. Like, do we think this is taking place on Christmas Eve? It's got to be pretty much Christmas Day by the time he's done, right? Like Christmas morning.
See, they get into that limo, right? And I think you think the idea is that they go home to like be with the children. But I think pretty quickly Holly takes a look at his feet and is like, oh no, you have to go to the hospital. Like you can't just like come home and have Christmas with the kids. I'm sorry, but like I'll bring them to you. But you need to like, you are so injured. I'm sure he's got some cracked ribs and like he is in so much pain. So I think really it's like, what is like the day 6 days down the line look like when he is released from the hospital? Because he's got like so many stitches in his feet. He's got definitely some broken bones. He's in bad shape at the end of the movie.
So the Christmas Day for him is just reconstructive surgery on the feet. That's it. Like family maybe stops by to say hi.
Come in and they say hello to dad and but then it's like, it's clear we know from the film Die Hard with a Vengeance that they have another split up, and Holly and they it's implied that maybe they get back together at the end of that movie. But, she pops up in Die Hard 2. So they're still together. So their relationship is good for a while. And he becomes an LA cop. He moves to LA. And then it turns south and he has to move back to New York at some point.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't seen Die Hard 2, but I like to just preserve Die Hard as its own thing. I don't know.
It is sort of perfect, but Die Hard 2 is, I think, it's been one of those, like, people have shit on it so much that now it's become underrated. And it's not as bad as people. It's not as good as Die Hard: The Vengeance, which is also really good, but it's certainly worth a watch. Also a Christmas movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say Die Hard 2 is worth a watch. I feel like
they get through like the holidays together and then, after a while he stops hugging her, or he's like, okay, so we're heading back to New York now. And she's like, no, I have a house here. The kids are in school. I have to stay. And then he goes and he's like, but I have a job. And then he tries to go to New York or he tries to stay, but then they stop hugging as they were before, and he just stops, being as, generous with his like showing his love of her. He stops doing all the things, all the California things that he thought were beneath him before, and then slowly, comes up with another plot to sabotage a hero from saving his village. I don't know. There's something I think we could redo this. I mean, history will be on my side. When it comes to John McClane.
When you guys watch Die Hard, I mean, how many times have you seen the film? Like, I've certainly seen it more than I'm in the like 50-ish range probably over the course of my life.
I'm still in single digits, I think, but it's close. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am too. I think I saw it for the first time in maybe like 2015 or 16, like relatively recently, and have watched it every year since then. and a couple more times,
Yeah.
probably around like 9-ish.
When you see it, but you've seen it a few times now. What is your experience when watching it? Do you find that you're seeing new things, or are you just enjoying the experience? Like, is it just, because for me, it's like I've memorized this movie basically. And now when I watch it, sometimes I'll bring like I thought of the Marxist angle before I rewatched it, so it's like I was going in looking for an angle, but it's not like that just like appeared to me because it's like clearly not true. But it's like I feel like I'm less like finding new things and just like enjoying it the way you enjoy a good peach. And you're like, I know what a peach tastes like. I'm not gonna it's not gonna be reinvented for me, but I'm never gonna not want like a good peach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean my whole Hans Gruber is the hero take was just this time, for whatever reason, I just got so much more enjoyment out of the villains in this. That was kind of my revelation this time, was like I loved all their relationships. I loved how they had so much busy work to do. And it just really resonated with me this time, how the big bad you were talking about was so driven because his brother died, which I guess, I don't know why that never really sunk in with me, but he is like out for vengeance. He's like, he needs revenge. Like it became very personal to him. And there's a reason why he's like at the end of the movie doing, trying to get his last shot in and like going after him and everything. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Sweet. So now I'm like having trouble remembering. Is he the same guy? Is the ballerina dude the same dude at the end who like stands up and tries to take the shot at him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he didn't fall out of the building, right? How did he get to the bottom?
I think the cops probably found him injured because remember McClane like basically hangs him. They have that fight at the top and he hangs him with the chain and you think he's dead. It's sort of like the Jason Voorhees like coming for one last kill. So I'm sure, just some paramedic was like, holy shit, you're in terrible shape. Let me get you out. And he's like, fuck off. And he like grabs his gun and goes.
Because in the final scene when he confronts Hans Gruber, he's got his wife taken. There's like another guy there. And I guess for whatever reason this time, I just was like, why is this other guy here? Do we know this guy? I was like trying to figure out, did this guy have specific relationships? Like, what was it about this? Is he just an unnamed henchman? I couldn't tell like what his deal was. Like, why is he in the final fight scene other than that it's like cooler for John McClane to like kill two people? I don't know.
The guy who looks like Huey Lewis?
I think so. He's like he's in the final scene. When he does like the tape gun thing, he shoots him and then tries to shoot Hans. So like, who is that guy? Like, what's his deal? Why is he there? Is the scene heightened because he's there? Is it like a more fulfilling for him to kill him? And then he's like not really done with Hans. And there's like this extra thing. Like I don't know. I guess I think it's like an interesting choice because I think most of the time nowadays you would see just a face-to-face hero, villain trying to save this one person. It wouldn't be hero, villain's friend. And then like usually
I think it's just it ups the stakes. It's just ups the stakes because he's got two bullets and there are two guys. So he's got to hit both like a bullseye two times. So I think it's just a stakes raiser. And I think he was just the last one left because he was the one working the counter.
Oh, downstairs
in the snack booth
with the I got $50 on these assholes.
Yeah.
I love that guy. He's great. Honestly, the people downstairs are awesome. The way he talks to the cop is amazing. It's just the bad guys in this are so awesome. They're great.
All great. And like even his like weird line readings where he's just like, thank you for your time. He's like, no problem at all. And he like has this weird sing-songy thing. He's just like, there's a famous story about the movie The Magnificent Seven. right? So it's like Yul Brynner was the star of that movie. It's a Western version of the Seven Samurai from like the 50s. And it's got Yul Brynner, who's the star. And then the rest of the seven are all these up and coming actors. So it's like a very young James Gardner, very young James Coburn, very young Steve McQueen, and Charles Bronson, and like a couple other guys. But the thing is, whoever would be the center of the scene, the other guys would be in like the background doing stuff. And because they were like up and coming, like young 20 something actors, like they all were doing business. And like Steve McQueen does this thing with like a knife where he's like flipping it around, and it's like not super drawing attention from Yul Brynner, who's like the star, but it like sort of is. Cause so it's like everyone, it has their like thing where they're like, fuck, I need to be noticed. Like, I can't just be like one of the seven. I got to be noticed. So they're all doing their thing. And I feel like in Die Hard too, it's like the hacker guy, the guy who loves candy. It's like they all have their like little thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to use this moment to like do something memorable that'll get me noticed. And it's like, that's like one of the reasons the movie's so great. Is like everyone's memorable, from even like the guy who gets killed and sent down. He's just like, he's got weird small feet, and he's like, no one is coming to help you. He's got like weird, like they all have weird line readings. It's just, everyone's so good.
Everyone's got a look too.
Yeah. I think this was fun to do. This is when the movie, now I'm looking at this movie and thinking like, oh, all these actors are having a good time. At least all the bad guys they're all goofing off. They're all doing weird voices. It's cool. It's like it feels like it must have been a fun set. I have no knowledge of this, but just from like all the like goofy stuff they're doing, it feels like, they're able to take risks. They do a bunch of different takes with fun stuff, different line readings. It just it feels like everyone's having a good time as like performers, like as an actor. And
like the script is so good. Everyone gets like some fun lines,
Yeah.
There's good quips. I wanna do one thing. So I looked up, the American Film Institute has their list of heroes and villains that's like of all time. The top 50 heroes and the top 50 villains of all time. A quick control find looking for John.
Oh, we got
John
a hacker
McClane
over here.
Make the list. John
He's
McClane
not on the list.
Not make the list, but
did you check the villain side?
Hans Gruber did make this list. He's down at 46, which I think is bullshit. But I think we should just go through the top 10, and you should say, like, let's see, is Hans Gruber a better villain than this person? Because I feel like he's better than most of these people.
Dude, this is great.
Number 10, the Queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, of course he's better.
He's better.
Yeah, Reagan from The Exorcist.
Reagan? Yeah,
they listed Reagan, not the devil.
Yeah, the poor victim.
Phyllis Dietrichson from Double Indemnity. That's Barbara Stanwyck's character. That's a great movie, but like, I think it's safe to say Hans Gruber.
Yeah,
this one's tough. Glenn Close from Fatal Attraction. She's pretty good.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, that one is tough.
I got to take an L on that one.
No shame
Potter,
losing to Glenn Close, though.
Yeah, I know. Hans Gruber's better than that. Mr. Potter, A Wonderful Life, he's just a fat banker. I think it's safe to say that Hans Gruber's better. It's like
absolutely
Nurse
better.
Ratched. Like sometimes they're like Nurse Ratched, One Cuckoo's Nest. Like now we're getting to the top. The top four I'll give you. Wicked Witch of the West, that's like iconic, but I'd still take Gruber.
Yeah, what's the Wicked Witch? Well, I was about to ask what the Wicked Witch's motivation was, and then I remembered that I've seen the musical Wicked 4 times.
Yeah. I think her whole thing is she's just wicked.
Oh, there's actually a lot more to it than that, Matt. You can't just take it as face value. I gotta show you, gotta see, dude.
Yeah, did you ever see? Yeah, Wicked. Yeah, that's what I think I read the book or something.
Wait, is there more to it than her just being wicked?
Oh my god, dude, you are not going to believe this. Oh, what's your stance on musical theater? Who are the other 3 in the top?
I don't want my stance out there publicly.
The stance is huge fan.
The other three are Darth Vader. That's like a solid choice.
Yes.
Norman
Yes,
Bates from Psycho and Hannibal Lecter.
Honestly, Norman
like
Bates
those-
weak. Weak
Norman
pick.
Bates
I mean,
weak. I think
weak
those
pick.
top four are better than the bottom four are better than the top four on this list. I think, say pretty safely.
Yeah,
As like
I-
iconic
I feel
figures.
like-
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying it's better than Reagan. I'm saying the names that Matt just listed are better than the top four that he listed.
No, those were the top. Number one is Hannibal Lecter. I read them in reverse order.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I thought you were going down the list, and I was like, this makes no goddamn sense at all. I was like, why the fuck is
I was
Darth
going
Vader?
up to number one. Vader is
Yeah.
number three. Vader, that's a strong. Vader's strong. I mean,
No,
he's
that's really
iconic.
good.
Hannibal Lecter, Norman Bates, Vader, and Wicked Witch of the West. Those are like iconic. Like you get, I don't know. They're iconic in a weird way that like Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life is not.
Yeah.
Like
Not at all.
Hans Gruber, you got to be like way higher. The shark from Jaws is down at 18. If the shark from Jaws is an iconic villain, if he's going to be if you're adding animals to the list at all, he should be in the top 10.
Dude.
Like, what are we doing?
I've said it once.
Oh my
I'll
God.
say it 100 times. The shark from Jaws is not the villain in that movie. The mayor of Amity is the villain in that movie. The mayor of Amity,
That's
honestly,
true.
should take a top 10 spot on that list, though.
He's
Yeah,
bad.
he's a
Where's the
bitch.
Joker?
Did you know that in Jaws 2, the mayor of Amity's still the mayor? That motherfucker got reelected. And if that doesn't show you how screwed up our politics are in this country,
He
I
fixed
don't
the shark
know.
problem. He hired the right people. He designated the shark problem was solved. He delivered on his promise to the people. I mean, I think there's a lot more to him than you guys are giving. I mean, his kids were in that water too. Don't forget that.
Oh, I think you guys over the summer should do a Jaws podcast and
We did Jaws 1. We got to do Jaws 2.
I've never seen Jaws 2. That would be kind of fun. Oh, man.
Oh,
Jaws
it's
2.
fun. It's not as good at all, but it is very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as Brody's
Yep.
in it, I'll be happy. Guys, we're coming up on the 45-minute mark. Any last remarks you'd like to drop on this one? Any last things you would like to say about Die Hard before we do this again next year?
I mean, we got to save some stuff for next year, but I do think it's a really, if you're going to watch it this holiday season, which I think you should, go in with a little bit more class consciousness and see if my Marxist theory holds any water.
I like that. I like that, Tim.
I think it's really fun to just think about like how much fun these guys were having filming this. I think it's just like a new level for me to like be watching this movie and like thinking more about like the actors doing it. Like it's just fun. There's just so much going on. Like there's so many layers to it. Like you can really just dive in and view it. And it's kind of shocking how many different ways you can like view the same thing and walk away with different interpretations of it. I don't know. It's great. It's an amazing movie.
I want to do a Buddhist reading of Die Hard next year.
I'm fully on board for that. Oh my God.
Like the Tao of John McClane.
There does seem to be some sort of a zen, like he's able to get himself through all that stuff. Seems like they had fun filming it. We had fun doing this pod. This was so much fun. Matt, thank you so much for being here. Tim, I gotta say, I truly did not mean to play you off that music. My finger accidentally hit the button, but here we are. We're riding out the episode. Gang, thank you so much for listening today. Happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. We'll be back here. Is this it for the year? No, we're back here with the Rennies. We're going to be back here on
We're doing the
Thursday.
Rennies next.
Oh my God, the the Ryan Reynolds Award for Excellence in Film. I'm so excited for this. We got great categories. We got great winners. We'll see you there. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Stay nerdy.